Dallas Cowboys organized team activities are underway. We're here at the Cowboys headquarters. Of course, they are voluntary, but it's kind of like wink, wink, voluntary.
Right. Around the league, guys don't show up only if they have an injury, a serious injury issue. And even in that case, and we've got a couple of those with the Cowboys, they're still here in the building. Or if I'm a bit of a contract dispute, then I find a reason to not volunteer.
Speaking of a guy in a contract dispute, Deebo Samuel. He's not in San Francisco at their organized team activities. Instead, in Dallas at a Dallas Mavericks game with Dak Prescott.
Yes,
Kind
of.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this. Is there anything to this, or was it just a fun, quick trip?
All right, first of all, to the background. So a fan who follows us on Twitter at Fish Sports saw this Instagram post, and it was just kind of tucked away by an Instagrammer named Blitzfits, who apparently is a fashion person.
Okay.
And I think has some sort of relationship with Deebo Samuel, the great offensive weapon with the 49ers, who clearly wants out of San Francisco.
Right.
So in this jet-setting age, you can snap your fingers if you're a pro football player and say, and you can be anywhere in the country and say, I think I'll go to a Mavericks game tonight.
Right.
And you can get a ticket.
Totally.
And you
to watch the Warriors from the Bay to...
Which is a big part of it.
Right.
His reason for being there was less Cowboys and much more Warriors. He's friends with Steph Curry. And so he hung out with Dak for a minute, but he also hung out with Steph Curry for more than a minute. Deebo has made it clear by liking posts on social media that he likes the idea of being in a Cowboy uniform. It's not a realistic concept, though, as wonderful as it'd be for their offense.
Cowboys fans' hearts broke everywhere.
Yeah, now, you want to come up with what's it going to take to get him? I mean, it's $20 million a year, I'm sure, is the contract, and I would assume that the 49ers say, we'll take a first-round pick.
Right.
It's not a realistic concept, but it is a dreamy one that it is worth saying Deebo Samuel even dreams a little bit himself.
I love it. Speaking of quarterback Dak Prescott, I was reading your wonderful breakdown of OTAs and the Cowboys on their offensive positions
at CowboysSI.com.
CowboysSI.com. And one of the things that really jumped out to me was where you put Jalen Tolbert on your depth chart, which was number 2 receiver. Now, what are you hearing about the rookie?
Well, the two of us had a chance to watch the OTA workout inside the Star at the Ford Center. So, to the Dak Prescott issue, first of all, and you made this, he just looks fine. Whatever went wrong last year was so incremental that it doesn't mean he's limping around on the field. And again, he moved very well.
Yeah.
He looks like a perfectly healthy, as McCarthy said the other day, 100%. So he's fine. So that's good.
Very good.
Now go win some playoff games, but that's good for now.
Which is the first time in a long time he started this whole process of the season healthy.
With no rehab, no contract, none of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, remember last summer, we went to training camp and everything, he was coming off the rehab, which was grueling, coming off the contract, which was grueling, and then his shoulder wasn't quite right for a minute there. So maybe it won't be something. In this always something world, it won't be something. Now to the receivers.
Yes.
CeeDee Lamb was very busy in the Wednesday OTA workout in every possible way and did a couple spectacular things.
Of course.
And we had a chance to talk with him one-on-one after the workout. And he says, I embrace being the number one guy. I don't look at it as a pressure thing. I don't look at it as something official. It's just an opportunity that's going to come to me. He goes, and we got a bunch of young guys that I can help. And I go, you're still a young guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he did just get here.
Right.
But 2020 first-round draft pick, and he's got a Pro Bowl under his belt. And yes, they are asking him to be the premium guy. I did talk to him about X versus slot, because in my day, X was the king. The X spot, he says, that has changed. He says, now I can do as much damage as the slot. X has some certain things about it that are attractive, but he'll end up doing all 3 things, and so will the rest of the guys. But not all the rest of the guys are here now. And we did a one-on-one visit with James Washington. He is wearing a walking boot on his left foot, which is cause for alarm if you're a Cowboy fan. So we do what we do. And we went and found James Washington and had a nice talk with him. And he said, in Pittsburgh, they didn't let us talk to the media about injuries. I said, okay, well, you're in for a change here. Because
you're in Dallas now.
But I did respectfully say, that's fine, I'll find it out elsewhere. And then I did. It's only tendonitis. But it did not look great. His very first look in a Cowboy uniform.
Right.
And he's wearing this gigantic white walking boot. But he said, yeah, I just went home one night after a workout. I just didn't feel quite right.
Ouch.
And so the training staff and medical staff said, let's just calm it down. Tendonitis, as you know, RICE is all you do, and you're fine next week. Michael Gallup, not going to be around on the field doing anything for a while,
right.
Rehabbing from the knee surgery. And then no Jalen Tolbert, and that's the guy that you mentioned at the top of this.
Right.
He's on the sideline working. Now, he had a big wrap on his left leg. So again, we're working on the assumption, nothing serious there.
Yeah.
But if you were looking for Jalen Tolbert to spend this Wednesday ramping up and taking that number 2 job, nope, nobody did that. It was a CeeDee Lamb show, and then Simi Fehoko, Noah Brown, and TJ Basher all got to say that they were with the first team today.
Yeah, also notable from OTAs today is that Dak moved his locker next to CD's. Yeah, so they'll be right next to each other. I think his locker was next to Amari Cooper. So he was like...
on the other side.
Yeah, so he was like, I don't have anybody by me anymore.
I think that's a good point. And whoever locker he moved, just listen, I am Dak Prescott.
Right.
You go shuffle over there.
Switch over.
There's been a different kind of a metamorphosis of how this is done. In the olden days, before, in the 80s, Tom Landry, the locker room at the Star had cubicles by themselves. So the defensive linemen were in their own square, separate from other guys. It wasn't one big room. And Jimmy Johnson came in here and said, well, that doesn't make any sense to me. We all got to be one. And then what they've done in this locker room, and this was a Jason Garrett thing, they put captains and team leaders in the corners as if they're like monitors of the doorways. And as you know, you've been in a locker room, there's 3 entryways that are public. There's a couple secret hatches too, but so you'll see Zach Martin right there on the corner locker stall next to the shower. So you go in and out of the shower, and there he is standing there.
Right.
And you better mind your manners. And Tank Lawrence has occupied that kind of space. And so that kind of guy, he helps run the locker room, and Dak Prescott, yes, he gets to move wherever he wants to move.
And of course, a part of OTAs is looking at all of the competitions at specific positions. When you look at the Cowboys defense, what do you think is the most important competition we're seeing unfold as of now? Well,
just like Dak on offense, it really all kind of comes around the hub of the wheel, which is Micah Parsons. And we had a chance, Bree and I, to sit down with Micah one-on-one. There's this kind of rumor out there that I wonder if he's just going to be a linebacker this year because they drafted Sam Williams. And he said, no. He said, I'm still me.
Yeah.
So we're not going to get less of Micah Parsons at anything. We're going to get more of Micah Parsons in every possible way.
Tank said, by the way, that he wants to be the sack leader this year.
There you go.
Yeah, so there's a little competition there.
And that works. And he should be.
Yeah.
Now they rotate defensive ends and stuff, but how great would it be if Micah Parsons went and got his 13 again or whatever, and then Tank Lawrence was in a competition with him?
Right.
I think the defensive performance and the team's record would be reflective of 2 guys that went and got double-digit sacks, obviously.
Right.
The other thing that jumped out today is, for me, Anthony Brown is the other starting cornerback opposite of Trayvon Diggs, but Kelvin Joseph is there, wearing his jersey number 1 and involved. And obviously, he's got bigger fish to fry as he deals with possible league punishment, but even bigger than that, still possible law enforcement punishment for his involvement as, at the very least, a passenger in the car in this tragic drive-by shooting. But the coaching staff and players say he's here every day, he's working. Mike McCarthy said the other day, and I thought that was kind of a bold statement, but good for McCarthy, said no, he's having a very outstanding offseason, except for the other thing.
Right.
So competition at cornerback, and then Michael Parsons as the centerpiece. Those are key issues for this defense right now.
Okay, before I let you go, Fish, what kind of whispers are you hearing around here?
They very respectfully in the offensive line, where they need to get much better. And I don't just mean better players. Even the good players need to play better. Tyron Smith, we did not see him on the field on this day. And so it was the 2 kids, Ball and Woletsko, who got to be the starting left tackle. That tells you, first of all, that Tyler Smith isn't a tackle, he's a guard.
Right.
Otherwise, he would have kicked out there. But he didn't. Tyler Smith, first round pick, started guard today out of respect, veteran respect.